Hello and welcome. This is our first free webinar hosted and presented by Weight in Mind. And all of you know Sarah and I, so we probably don't need much introduction. Thanks for joining us this evening. You may come from different backgrounds, so we hope that you enjoy the presentation and get some information, find something useful for you and your families from it, whatever your background. Perhaps it will build on something you already know, or you'll learn something new. We would ask that you remain muted for the session for sound quality, but you're very welcome to ask questions. We had said via the chat, but since there's such a small number of us, I think it would be fine to unmute and ask questions, or pop your questions in the chat at the end and we'll respond to everything as best we can. So if after the webinar you have any questions or you want to get in touch with us, we are www.weightinmind.com is our website, Instagram is @weightinmind, and our emails are faye@sarah@weightinmind. And you'll get all this information in your follow-up email, and we'd be really happy to hear from you. So the focus tonight is to offer some answers to the question, what can you do to support immune health and your immune system? And perhaps use this very strange period of time we're all experiencing to create some positive, healthy patterns in your everyday life. So we must iterate that the information we're going to present here is for educational purposes only and shouldn't be used or construed as medical advice or personal nutrition recommendations. And first and foremost, we do want to send you, in light of the situation we're all sort of living through now in relation to COVID-19, our best wishes. These circumstances are challenging and uncertain in the face of the outbreak, not just in terms of our health, but in the many other ways this situation is presenting challenges for us emotionally, financially, practically, in terms of isolation and working arrangements, living arrangements, childcare. So no doubt some of these things are affecting you in some way. So sending our good wishes to you this evening. So a bit of an introduction, even though I think you all know us, but for those who might listen later, I'm Faye on the left and this is Sarah on the right. We founded Weight in Mind coming up for 2 years ago on a mission to help people live and experience good health. Our goal is really simple, and that's to help people make lasting changes to their lifestyle, behaviour and habits and help them achieve their goals of good health and ideal weight. We like teaching people how to create a healthy living strategy, and we very much focus on moving from the what to the how, or in other words, from the knowing to the doing. So we like to help people really learn how to implement changes with practical tools for food, nutrition, cookery, lifestyle and mindset.
Thanks, Faye. That's correct. We're also professionals with lots of experience in nutrition, psychology, coaching, cooking and exercise. And we came together to develop an enterprise that offers nutrition and lifestyle solutions to people who are perhaps overweight or who want to support a chronic health condition or just want to be as healthy as they can. We work with an integrated approach to health based on functional nutritional medicine and clinical psychoneuroimmunology. These models place lifestyle and food choices at the heart of better health. And an important part of what we do is to help people to create a healthy immune system. Our immune resilience is powerfully connected to and influenced by our nutritional status, our physical fitness, and our emotional environment. The immune system actually mediates between our bodies and invading pathogens, and so therefore it makes sense that they are a key strategy in this current situation that we're facing and for obviously our long-term health. And so we should find ways to support and strengthen our immune systems. And this is why we're here today, because we realise that it may be extremely useful to share some knowledge and to try and reach a wider audience, given as a global community we're currently experiencing a significant challenge for our immune systems.
So, Faye again, coming back to the pandemic, as this was the motivation for us giving this free session, the advice you're getting from health authorities, which includes things such as social distancing, washing hands, avoiding touching your face, etc., is all really important and will be essential to help us buy time to manage and solve the crisis. However, we considered another angle, and that was that while the coronavirus may be showing us how easy it is to transmit a virus, we wanted to carry on doing the work we do and focus on showing people how easy it is to transmit good health. So this webinar will focus on really simple ways you can work on your health during this time, both in terms of supporting your immune system, how we can take care of ourselves beyond the basic measures of hand washing and isolation, and in terms of managing your mindset in the face of so many challenges. So just a reminder, we're not immunologists or doctors or infectious disease experts. We just educate and coach people on food, health and lifestyle. So we will talk this evening about food, supplements, lifestyle and mindset. We really hope you enjoy. As we said, do post any questions or comments in the chat as we go, and we'll do our best to monitor. So this slide is just a little bit about our approach at Weight in Mind, in case you don't know us very well yet, and also hopefully a little motivation for you to make some changes following this session. Our aim for this session is that you really take away at least a handful of actionable changes that you can easily do to support your immune health from today onwards. So our number one sort of approach or presupposition is that our health has really everything to do with how we live and what we eat. This is an incredibly empowering message. It means that for most of us, the choices that we make on a daily basis will have big influences on our health outcomes. So risk factors related to health outcomes are largely dependent on lifestyle, and many aspects of our lifestyle are largely dependent on us. So we, in a sense, create our health. The second approach, the second presupposition is that when it comes to immunity, the health of the host may be more important than the disease itself. This approach is responding to the question, why do some people get sick and not others? So there are, of course, important factors that determine a person's vulnerability or resilience to picking up a bug or developing a chronic health condition. And those factors are often things that are very much within our control, such as food and nutrition, mindset, sleep, and so on. So we can see this playing out now with the coronavirus. Although it's very complex in its early days, it's fairly clear that things like obesity, overweight, having existing health conditions, having nutrition deficiencies, particular age, smoking may influence a person's ability to fight the virus effectively. We can all, between us, probably recognise a time in our lives when we were more susceptible, maybe a time of stress over work or lack of sleep, or after a pregnancy, or recovery from illness. I'm sure, Sarah, you'll relate to that as you sit there with your 3-month-old, having just experienced quite a challenging 3 months. But so most of us have an idea of what it is to be under par or feel susceptible, and we can, relate to that, those things that contribute to that. Then leading to our third presupposition, that is that there is always something we can do to manage and improve our health and to improve our resilience. So this webinar is about some of those can-dos that we teach all the time on our courses and in our coaching that we just wanted to share with as many people as we could. So if you enjoy this seminar and you think it's useful, please do, pass on details to friends and pass on our Instagram page, because we will be posting more information over the next few weeks. So we're going to take a whistle-stop tour tonight of 5 areas of health that you can work on from right after this webinar. The gut and other protective barriers as your first line of defense, food for health and immunity, some supportive supplements, mindset and stress management, and how to build a community of health that sort of starts with you, a mindset of health and some positive patterns. So first up is barriers. What do we mean by barriers? When we use the word barriers, we're really talking about the physical protective barrier between the inside of the body and the outer world. So areas such as the oral cavity, the digestive tract, and the respiratory tract are all barriers. So our barriers are part of the innate immune system, a first line of defense. So if we're going to talk about supporting immunity, we do need to talk a little bit about the immune system. We're not going to go into great details about immune health because it's such a complex and vast area, but we're going to talk tonight about the innate immune system and the barriers as a first line of defense. So on a daily basis, we're exposed to an enormity of microbes, and it is the immune system's job to identify friend from foe and respond accordingly. In the event of contact with a microbe that can cause disease, it is the work of the immune system at the barrier to initiate a response and defend us. So this is why barriers are just so important in terms of our immune competence and tolerance. So we're going to give you some ideas of how to create and maintain healthy barriers, a healthy innate immune system. So what are the barrier functions? What does it actually do? When we there are some specific mechanisms involved in the innate immune system, and we're just going to mention 3 of them here and focus on those. The microbiome, you probably know something about the microbiome, if not a lot about the microbiome, depending on your background, and have some idea by now about how important it is for our overall health. It's the body's collection of bacteria, funguses, viruses, and other organisms, and it has a really fundamental role in immunity, basically because it communicates with immune cells, telling the inside what's going on in the outside world and directing and informing immune responses. So it's not just about having a healthy gut and, you know, passing a healthy stool. The microbiome has an awful lot of valuable and complex jobs to do in the body, especially in relation to the immune system. The barriers also have a chemical mechanism, such as stomach acids in the gut, mucus, tears, saliva. They all contain substances ready to act on invaders and are dependent on nutritional factors such as zinc for stomach acid. And then we have the epithelial cells and tight junctions that monitor what gets through the barrier and into the bloodstream. When they are healthy, they really hold the fort and guard the gates between the inner and outer worlds. So we need a diverse and balanced microbiome, an effective chemical barrier, and a healthy gut lining. And we can use food, nutrition, exercise, and stress management to achieve this. They are all very influential in terms of supporting these mechanisms. So, as I say, we haven't got time to go into great detail this evening, but we're going to just take a quick look at the immune system and the microbiota, so the first mechanism that we just talked about there in the previous slide, and just explore it in a little more detail. So the microbiome, the bacterial ecosystem you house in your body, those millions and billions of bugs actually speak to the immune system and guide it into appropriate action, which I think is pretty amazing. This picture is adapted from a research paper, the one listed on the left on the top, and it illustrates the ways in which the microbiota talk to and educate the immune system, literally translating what's going on the outside into what needs to happen on the inside. So our bugs are involved in talking to and educating the immune system in 3 ways. Firstly, in the development of the immune system, really from birth onwards, so helping the immune system create memory and build up its memory banks, if you like. They function directly in the barriers. So, for example, molecules derived from the microbiome promote monocytes, that's white blood cells, to move into the bloodstream. White blood cells are a key part of our immune defense, and early data on the COVID-19 patients indicates dysregulation of immune responses, including lower percentages of monocytes. So, as well as direct function, they also help tune the immune system, which is quite clever, meaning that they're involved in sort of orchestrating the level and intensity of the response of the immune system to an invading pathogen by entering the bloodstream to sort of tune immune cells in the peripheral area. This is really important, as our immune systems are actually very powerful, and more is not always better. Sometimes less is more. So bugs actually help our bodies gain balance between pro and anti-inflammatory mechanisms during immune responses, which is critical for maintaining balance between healing and avoiding excessive tissue damage. So hopefully from this slide, which is our bit of science, that you can begin to see how important it is that this first line of defense and the microbiome is in good order. And we can start to make connections between our microbiome, beneficial bacteria, and immune health. A healthy, balanced microbiome with lots of good levels of beneficial bacteria and probiotics really does help us to deter pathogens. And we can influence that through what we eat and how we live. We can actually educate our immune system via the microbiome. If you're interested to know more, you can ask us questions via email or in the chat afterwards, and we're happy to send you those papers that are listed there. So just a quick look now, because the coronavirus is a disease affecting the lungs. So a quick look at the lung and the influence of microbes. This image is extracted from a study listed on the left and looked at balance of microbes in the immune system in the lungs. And as you can see here, it explored the environmental factors that were shown to maintain balance and good communication, including a high fiber diet and a diverse microbiota. we create diversity by what we eat and how we live. You notice that the factors on these lists nearly all relate to behaviours and lifestyle choices of some sort. So we do have a lot to say in how we take care of our microbiota and immune responses. We can really start to make the link between how our immune systems are really influenced by our health behaviours over time. And this is really exciting for us because it's really empowering. So in the last slide on the immune system and the barriers, just a very quick run through of some of the things we can do if we want to maintain a healthy immune system, particularly healthy barriers as a first line of defense. What can we actually do and not do? As I said initially, we like to focus on not just the what, but the how. So after I've whisked through this list, we're going to really talk you through for the rest of the seminar how you can implement all of these or some of these factors. So modern diet high in sugar and carbs can cause stress to the barriers. It also, a high sugar intake is linked to decreased immune responses. So at this time, if you're wanting to maximize your immunity, you probably want to cut out on sugary refined foods. Nutrient deficiencies can contribute to barrier stress. So later we recommend a basic supplement program. Alcohol, which is in your hands to manage alcohol intake. Chronic stress, we offer some stress management tools at the end of this, and you'll have your own awareness of how you can manage stress at this time. Anti-inflammatories and antacids. Now, if you are taking medication prescribed by your doctor, of course, we don't wish for you to make any changes, but over the long term, anti-inflammatories can contribute to barrier damage and stress, but also in the short term, there's been a lot of reporting about how we should not be using anti-inflammatories like Nurofen and ibuprofen. I don't know what they're called in Argentina, for this virus in particular. And then specific foods can cause barrier stress. And really, that's anything that you know you're intolerant to, or anything that you know makes you feel uncomfortable, causes inflammation, can contribute to barrier stress. So if you know that you are sensitive to a particular food, it's probably a good time to exclude that from your diet for a while. And in terms of promoting good barrier health, we're looking at really a whole foods diet, lots of diversity, probiotics and prebiotics, micronutrients, getting into broth, which is just an excellent resourceful food, exercise and stress management. And I'm going to hand you over to Sarah now, who's going to talk you through many of those aspects and talk you through food for health in the context of immunity.
Thank you, Faye. Lovely whistle-stop tour of our immune system. So, food, let's look at food. Food is our medicine, and we really just need to eat really well. As you heard from Faye, immune competence is closely linked to our nutritional status, and fresh whole food is literally the source of thousands of substances that allow our bodies to perform and function well. So what can we do? Like Faye said, we're focusing on what we can do in the event of the COVID-19 and how to support our immune systems. And here's a good list of where we can start. So let's tackle the first one on the list, which is eating lots of veg. So if we switch to the next slide, Faye. Thank you. So of course, in general, eating plenty of vegetables is good practice. And we're not talking your 5 a day that's usually recommended by governments, but we're saying 7 to 10 a day, and that doesn't include your fruit. Your fruit would be on top of that. It's all about variety and plant diversity, because the more veggies that you eat, the more vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, phytonutrients, pre and probiotics are entering your system, which is great for your gut health and maintaining those important barriers Faye was just talking about. And when we talk about veg, we much prefer fresh over frozen and frozen over canned. But obviously during this time when elements may be scarce, you simply need to do the best you can. But perhaps look for vegetable box deliveries if your local supermarket is unable to send you, or you're unable to find anything in your market. Easy wins to incorporate lots of vegetables are soups, for example. By adding a portion of healthy soup to a lunch or dinner, you can easily add 2 to 3 extra vegetables to your diet. You might want to add a super salad to your meal. And I mean, keep it simple. You don't have to go super fancy. You can grate anything from carrots, beetroot, fennel, green apple, courgette, mixed with lettuce and rocket, and you've got 6 extra veggies included in your lunch or dinner. Think stir fries. They're really simple. Slice a whole bunch of veggies roughly to the same size: courgettes, onions, broccoli, mushrooms, green beans, peppers, carrots. I mean, the list goes on. And quickly stir fry them in coconut or olive oil with lots of grated garlic and ginger, a splash of good soy sauce, and a large sprinkling of coriander, and you literally have a meal in minutes. One of my favourites, and it's simple, easy to do, are vegetable frittatas. You can gently fry onions, garlic, sliced mushrooms, and lots of spinach. Add lots of beaten eggs, a sprinkle of salt, and allow to cook it really slowly. And again, you've got another healthy meal. Curries are an excellent way of adding lots of vegetables to your meal, and the same goes for stews. Add your meat, lots of veg, red wine, bone broth, and cook slowly. A simple one that sometimes gets overlooked are crudités. You can just chop up any veg that you like raw, keep it raw, so carrots, broccoli, tomatoes, green beans, that kind of thing, and mix them with really delicious dips. You can keep it simple, as in a cream cheese, spring onion, and lots of grated garlic, or ramp it up a little bit with a hummus, guacamole, a fresh pesto with lots of basil, or if you've just got shop bought mayonnaise in the fridge, which I'd rather recommend you've made your own, but you can just use that mayonnaise and grate lots of garlic and parsley into there. Obviously, I'm doing a whistle-stop tour of food here, so don't worry. All of this information will be included in your follow-up email. The other thing that's really important over and above your veggies are things like garlic, ginger, herbs, and spices, because they have antimicrobial, antioxidant, and immune boosting properties. And those things include things like lemons, honey, ginger, spices, turmeric, cloves, cinnamon, fresh herbs such as parsley, oregano, sage, coriander, basil. There's a longer list than what I'm telling you today. And these foods are usually the magic bullet when it comes to adding lots of flavour to meals. So great for your health, and obviously great for your taste buds. Some easy ways to incorporate these foods into your diet could be through smoothies, curries, hot drinks, and tea. A smoothie I've been making every day this week, which you can see in the bottom corner there, was a turmeric lassi, where I added yogurt, banana, lemon, ginger, turmeric, and honey. Other ones to think about could be pineapple, turmeric, lemon, apple, and ginger, carrot, apple, and ginger. There's many out there. Like I said in the previous slide, a curry is a great way to get lots of veg in, but it's a really great way to get lots of spices and herbs. You've got lots of garlic, ginger, turmeric, fresh coriander in a curry, so that's a great way to get a big boost. Think hot drinks as well. You've got your teas, but you've also got the classic honey and lemon, but this time lots of grated ginger into there. Something I do regularly, which is a great way to get herbs into your diet, is I blend butter with different herbs and then pop it into an ice cube tray, freeze it, and then you've got a little knob of butter with lots of flavour that you can just add to grilled chicken or lots of vegetables, which is just super simple. Like I said, make a fresh basil. You've got tons of fresh basil in there. Add olive oil, pine nuts, garlic, parmesan, whiz it up in a food processor, and you've got a great salad dressing or a sauce for a chicken. Garlic, we love garlic at Way to Mind and recommend that you eat lots of it. On our blog there's a simple fermented garlic recipe. Go and give it a go in these few days, because in just a few weeks' time, if you make it today, you'll have little morsels of magic that make eating garlic really easy. It literally takes the real pungency, kind of rawness out of the garlic and makes it really soft and almost roasted flavour. It's beautiful. And then you can add that to any of your salad dressings, hummus, guacamole, that kind of thing. And obviously you've got the added bonus of fermented foods and their probiotic value. So we'll move on to the sugar swap. So you heard Faye talk about this before. So if this is one thing you really can do, is switch out your sugar and refined carbohydrates, because they're not supportive to your microbiome or your health. So we suggest you do your absolute best to swap out any refined sugar for perhaps honey or fresh fruit and dates. Honey is great as it's antimicrobial. You can add it to salad dressings, using it in hot drinks and smoothies, or even in your cakes. Perhaps in these few days you're looking to make a cake at home with, for yourself or with children. Perhaps rather than making a traditional sponge cake, opt for a banana bread where you're using bananas for sweetness. Just make sure they're quite ripe, and then you can switch out the refined flour for almond flour, for example. I'm not only talking about white sugar here, but I think you should think about switching out those processed or refined carbs for vegetables. Some really easy ideas are, instead of having pasta, you can have courgette spaghetti or spaghetti squash. You can switch out your rice for cauliflower rice. If you're a cereal and toast kind of person in the mornings, swap that up for some yogurt and fresh fruit, seeds and nuts. or make a chia seed pudding, or have some lovely eggs. Shop bought granola, for example, I know lots of people really like it, but it's usually full of lots of different types of sugar and not that great for you. It's really simple to make at home just by mixing nuts and seeds with coconut oil and honey, pop it in the oven for 10 minutes and voila. You can switch out bread wraps or those taco type things for lettuce leaves, or even better, nori leaves. Nori is the things that you make sushi rolls with. That's really good for you. So we'll move on from those sugar swaps to probiotic foods. Over on our blog, there are a few great posts that Faye has written about the importance of incorporating fermented foods into our diets. Easy wins would be to buy full-fat yogurt, for example, or kefir yogurt, sauerkraut or pickles. You just need to be careful when you're in the shop looking for sauerkraut or pickles, that they are in a brine solution and not a vinegar and sugar solution. If they are in a vinegar and sugar solution, you're not going to get the probiotic value. Other ingredients to include are miso, tempeh, apple cider vinegar and kombucha, and most of these things can easily be found in a supermarket today. Or during your time, now that most of us are at home, like I said, you can make the fermented garlic recipe. It's super easy, or make your own sauerkraut. And I did this just yesterday. I literally grated a whole head of red cabbage, 2 carrots, a large chunk, maybe 5 centimeters of ginger, a large clove of garlic, and mixed it all, or massaged it all, should I say, with 2 tablespoons of Himalayan salt. I then literally let it rest so the juices came out, popped it into old jam jars and sealed them, and now it's fermenting away on my kitchen surface. So in probably about 2 to 3 weeks time, I'm going to have something delicious. What I'll do over this week is I'll pop that recipe onto the blog, so you've got that too. So from probiotics, we're going to go to prebiotics, and this is how you grow your garden or your microbiome. Prebiotic foods are a type of fibre found in particular foods such as onions, artichokes, garlic, leeks, shallots. I mean, there's a whole list there. They are known to be really supportive and helpful when building a healthy microbiome because they benefit the good bacteria. Faye mentioned this, bone broth. And if there's one thing you can do that's really simple is make chicken bone broth, for example. It really doesn't take much. All you need is some leftover chicken bones from your roast dinner, or you can buy chicken wings, for example, and use those. Submerge them in water, add onions, carrots, celery, garlic, and a dash of lemon juice or apple cider vinegar. It's important that you remember the lemon juice or the apple cider vinegar because that helps to extract the nutrients from the bones. And simmer away for at least 6 hours. Again, yesterday I had to go at this. I do it quite regularly. And I literally only had onions and fennel in the fridge. I didn't have any carrots or celery. It doesn't matter. There are no hard and fast rules here. Add in whatever you have. Maybe you've got a broccoli stalk or a cauliflower stalk. Pop those in. It's totally fine. Once you've made your broth, you can drink it once a day warm, or pop it into your soups. Use it as stock for curries or in your stews or even your shepherd's pie. It freezes really well too, so portion it out and pop it in the freezer for a later day. Chicken or meat bone broth is a brilliant way to support your immune health as it contains nutrients that promote good barrier health in the gut. Bones and connective tissues used to make broth give you glucosamine and chondroitin. The marrow provides vitamin A, vitamin K2, minerals like zinc, iron, boron, manganese and selenium, as well as omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. The protein collagen, which turns into gelatin when cooked, provides several important amino acids, including glutamine. Glutamine helps maintain the function of your intestinal barrier, which is great. And as you simmer all these ingredients together, the nutrients are released into the water in a form that your body can easily absorb. So it's absolute genius. And honestly, it's really simple. You don't need to do anything. Put your bits into the water onto the stove and leave it on a low heat for 6 hours. The other thing we recommend is eating posh mushrooms, or any mushrooms you can get your hands on, really. They have a wonderful ability to boost the immune system and combat many diseases by way of providing important vitamins and minerals and enzymes like beta-glucans. And they're also extremely tasty. Another thing we want you to consider is incorporating coconut oil specifically for other good fats into your diet. For good health, we recommend that you eliminate refined vegetable oils, so sunflower, safflower, canola, corn, and replace them with cold-pressed olive, avocado, or coconut oil, butter, and ghee. The medium-chain fatty acids, such as lauric and capric acid found in coconut oil, has been reported to be antimicrobial and can be easily incorporated into cakes, smoothies, or used in stir-fries. You can literally use it like any other oil that you have at home. So as you've seen on this whistle-stop food for health tour, eating lots of diverse plants and including elements that have antimicrobial properties all support immune function and overall health and well-being. As a result of attending this webinar, we will send you our WIM Everyday Food Plate that contains a list of food, as you can see here on the screen, that is great for your health. You can print it off and pop it in your purse or wallet, ready for the next time you go shopping, and you can, go around the store checking off what's good and what's not so good. Obviously we've covered many things today, and you may feel that there's lots of things to kind of go away and do, but what I'd say is, if there's 3 things you can do from tomorrow, is the first one would be to cut out sugar and processed foods, eat lots of garlic daily, and get those 7 to 10 portions of veg into your diet every day. It really is your medicine. So over to you, Faye, for supplements now.
Thank you. I'm going to, we've covered the first 2 sections, which is barriers and food for health. I'm going to have to ask you if you can all log off actually and rejoin the webinar, because I realise I've opened the webinar much earlier than the planned start date. So we're actually running out of time, and we're going to run out of time on this particular slot. So if you don't mind, if you could just use the same link, just sign off and sign straight back on again, and we'll finish the second half together on a new a new session.